They asked humanity for help. They didn't expect an entire armada to answer. The alien world was burning. Vast cities once filled with lights were now broken shadows under a red sky. The enemy had come like a storm. Machines with no faces, only endless hunger to destroy. Every fleet the aliens had built was gone, every defense shattered. Their leaders argued in dark rooms. Their generals whispered of surrender, but all knew the truth. Their civilization was at the end. In the central command tower, the last council sat in silence. The air smelled of smoke and despair. One elder finally spoke, her voice thin like broken glass. "We have no choice. We must send the signal. Somewhere in the galaxy, someone must hear us." A long pause followed. The idea of asking outsiders for help was bitter. Their people had always believed themselves strong, untouchable. To admit weakness was to break their pride. But pride could not stop the burning sky. Pride could not save their children hiding in ruined shelters. So the decision was made. The message was built, crafted in every frequency they knew. It was simple, desperate, stripped of pride. "We are dying. We beg for help." The beacon rose into the night. A column of light tore through the clouds, piercing the dark space beyond their dying sun. The signal carried maps, warnings, and the weight of an entire race's fear. They did not expect an answer. The galaxy was cold and cruel. Many would see their distress as weakness to exploit. Still, they hoped. Hope was all that remained. Days passed. Silence. The enemy pressed closer. Cities fell. Oceans boiled. Entire continents became wastelands. The people whispered in the ruins. "No one is coming." Then, one night as the council gathered to prepare their final surrender, the beacon changed. A pulse returned. At first it was faint, almost a ghost. Then the signal cleared. A voice spoke, calm, steady, strangely warm. It was not the voice of their kind. It carried a different tone, a different rhythm. But it was clear, strong, undeniable. "This is humanity. We hear your call." The room froze. Generals looked at each other in shock. The elders stared at the flickering screen. Humanity? The name was whispered, unknown, half remembered from star charts of distant colonies. A species young compared to the ancient powers of the galaxy. A people never seen in their space, never feared in their wars. Could such beings really help them? The alien leader asked, trembling, How many can you send?" The reply came with a strange silence first, as if weighed with thought. Then the voice spoke again. "You asked for help, and help will come." The council leaned forward. Were these humans sending a ship? A small squadron, perhaps? Anything could be useful, even a token defense. But the voice did not explain further. It ended only with 3 words. "Hold on. Wait." For the first time in months, a spark of hope touched the ruined world. The message spread quickly through underground shelters and broken streets. "Someone heard us. Someone is coming." Mothers held their children tighter. Soldiers lifted their weapons again with trembling hands. Hope, fragile but real, was alive. Still, doubt remained. Who were these humans? Were they mercenaries looking for payment? Were they opportunists waiting to conquer once the machines were destroyed? No one knew. But the people had no strength left to question. If humanity came, they would accept it. If humanity betrayed them, then so be it. At least their struggle would not end alone. Far above the broken world, the beacon repeated into the void, no longer just a cry of despair, but now a link, thin but unbreakable, between a dying people and a mysterious race. In the silence of space, the promise of help traveled with the stars. The enemy did not know. They continued their advance, blind to what had awakened. But in the hearts of the aliens, fear mixed now with wonder. Because when humanity spoke, there had been something in that voice, something steady, unshaken, almost frightening. It was not just a promise of aid. It was a warning. And though no one could yet see it, the stars were already shifting. Somewhere beyond known space, ships stirred. Engines roared in hidden docks. Orders spread across worlds. Humanity had heard the call. Humanity was moving. What would come, no one could imagine. The aliens thought perhaps a small fleet, a token gesture, a handful of warriors. They had no idea what it truly meant when humanity answered. Because when humanity moved, it did not move in silence. It moved like a tide. It moved like an armada. And the galaxy was about to learn what it meant when an entire species rose together. The days after the signal reply passed in silence. The aliens waited, torn between hope and fear. The humans had promised help, but no details came. The council asked again and again for more answers. But the beacon only carried the same short message. Hold on, wait. The enemy did not wait. The machines pressed forward with no mercy. Their black ships hovered above burning skies, and each day more cities were erased. The alien soldiers fought with whatever was left, but every victory was small, every loss enormous. The people whispered in the ruins, maybe humanity lied. Maybe no one is coming. Then, one night, something strange appeared at the edge of their dying system. At first, it was only a reading on a scanner, an energy spike, faint but rising. The operators gasped, their hands shaking over broken consoles. They thought it might be another wave of enemy ships. Alarms echoed across underground bases. The survivors prepared to hide once more. But then the readings shifted. The pattern was different. This was not the machines. This was something else. High above the scorched planet, the skies opened. A ripple cut across the stars, bending the darkness. Out of that ripple, a ship emerged. It was nothing like the machines. Sleek lines, metal shining with a strange blue glow, engines humming with silent power. The alien observers stared in disbelief. The ship was massive, larger than any cruiser they had built, with weapons bristling along its hull. Its presence filled the sky like a mountain in space. The council rushed to the command tower. They watched through trembling screens as the ship descended slowly into orbit. "Is it them?" one elder whispered. A moment later, the beacon lit up. A human voice spoke again, calm, firm, unshaken. "This is the first of our fleet. You are not alone anymore." Gasps echoed through the chamber. The people in the shelters cheered with broken voices. Children clapped their hands for the first time in weeks. Soldiers straightened their backs. The aliens thought this was the answer. The promised help, a single ship that could fight for them. Already they felt grateful, already they felt saved. But the humans were not finished. Another ripple tore open the stars. A second ship appeared. Then a third, then 10. One by one they emerged from the void, forming lines across the sky. Their engines glowed like distant suns, their weapons gleamed cold and sharp. The aliens could not believe their eyes. It was not one ship. It was not a squadron. It was an entire fleet. The first rows spread out across the edge of the system, moving with perfect precision. More came, until the black of space was broken by glowing trails and metallic giants. Hundreds of ships appeared, filling the void. The humans had not sent a token force. They had sent an armada. The enemy machines noticed at last. Their fleets, which had moved slowly toward the planet, turned. Scanners lit up, detecting the sudden storm of human ships. For the first time, the machines hesitated. On the surface, the alien people gathered in ruined streets, staring upward. Their voices trembled in awe. The sky, it is full of them. No one had ever seen such a thing. No empire in the galaxy had ever answered a call with so much power. The alien leaders exchanged fearful glances. Was this rescue or conquest? Was humanity here to save them or to claim their ashes? The human ships said nothing more. They did not boast, did not threaten, did not explain. They simply took formation. Silent shadows against the stars. The alien commander in the war room whispered what all of them felt. They moved like a single hand. Like one will controls them all. A strange fear joined the awe. The humans were not only powerful, they were disciplined, united. Every ship followed its course with machine-like precision, yet every movement felt alive. The alien people prayed that this was salvation, not the beginning of another nightmare. Far across the battlefield, the enemy machines finally roared into motion. Their fleets gathered, black wings rising from the void. Thousands of them, a swarm of death. The balance of power trembled in space, and between the ruined world and the enemy swarm, the human armada spread its wings. The first battle had not yet begun, but the aliens already understood. The universe they knew was about to change. What kind of species answered a desperate cry with such overwhelming force? What kind of people filled the sky with warships for strangers they had never met? The machines prepared to strike. The alien world held its breath. And in the silence before war, humanity waited, like shadows ready to fall. The alien world had never seen such a sight. Their skies, once filled with smoke and falling fire, were now covered by shining trails of engines. The human armada floated above them, a wall of steel and silence. There were hundreds of ships, maybe more. Some were small and fast. Others were heavy giants that carried weapons too large to imagine. Together they moved like one living being. The alien soldiers stared from broken bunkers, whispering in awe. Their generals in the war room could not look away from the scanners. The humans said nothing more. No threats, no speeches, no demands, only silence, and in that silence there was power. The enemy machines gathered at the far edge of the system. Their swarm grew like a black cloud, thousands of ships spreading across the stars. They had destroyed every race that stood against them. They had left whole civilizations in ruins, but now for the first time they paused. The machines scanned the human fleet. Their codes spoke in cold logic, calculating numbers, testing strength, but numbers could not explain what they faced. There was something different in this armada, something that could not be measured by size or firepower. It was the way the ships moved, the way they waited. They were not desperate. They were not afraid. They were ready. On the alien planet, the council argued again. "What do they want from us?" asked one leader. "No one sends so many ships without a price." Another elder shook her head. "Do you not see? They came because we asked. No one else did. And they did not come with words. They came with power." But doubt remained in their hearts. The aliens had lived long in a galaxy where mercy was rare, where help always came with chains. Was humanity truly different? In orbit, the humans began to move. Small ships darted forward, scouting the battlefield. Larger warships adjusted position, locking into tight formations. The enemy swarm shifted nervously, preparing for attack. But the humans did not fire. They simply took their places, calm and precise. On every alien screen, strange symbols appeared, messages sent by the humans. The words were simple, translated by machines. "Hold your ground. Do not break. Watch and learn." The alien soldiers shivered as they read. The humans were not asking for trust. They were giving orders as if they already knew the outcome. Far above, the largest human ship lit its engines, its massive shadow stretching across the dying world. It turned slowly, showing its weapons. Rows of cannons glowing faint blue, launch bays filled with hidden fire. The sight struck fear even into the hearts of the desperate aliens. If humanity chose, those same weapons could erase them. Yet the humans held their fire. They waited. The alien commander whispered, "Why do they not strike? The enemy is there, ready to be hit. Why do they wait?" No one answered. The silence of the humans was like a storm waiting to break. The machines finally made the first move. Their swarm surged forward, black wings unfolding across the stars. They came in numbers that blotted out the light of suns, confident as always that their tide would drown all resistance. The human armada did not flinch. Every ship turned as one. Engines burned brighter, weapons locked into place. Still no words, no cries, no battle roars, only silence, and then, for a moment, space itself seemed to hold its breath. The aliens on the surface could only watch in terror and awe. The enemy filled the skies, a sea of darkness pressing down. The humans stood against it, a wall of light and steel. The first clash had not yet come, but already the aliens understood. Humanity was not like the others. They did not beg. They did not boast. They prepared, they waited, and when they moved, it was with unity no machine could copy. The alien children whispered to their parents in the shelters. They looked like one giant creature. And in many ways it was true. Humanity's fleet was not a collection of ships. It was a single hand, a single will, stretching across the stars. The enemy swarm closed in. The first shots glowed in the distance, deadly sparks racing through space. The silence was about to break. And in that final moment before the storm, the aliens realized something that made their hearts beat faster with both hope and fear. Humanity was not only answering their call for help. Humanity was showing the galaxy what it truly was. Not a scattered people, not a weak species, but a silent power, waiting to be unleashed. The first shots lit up the void like falling stars. The enemy machines opened fire in a flood of deadly beams, dark energy slicing through space. Thousands of red lines spread across the black sky. Each one meant to destroy, each one meant to end. The alien people watching from their broken world screamed in fear. They had seen these beams erase whole fleets before, but the humans did not panic. The first wave of shots reached them and vanished. The leading ships of the human armada shimmered as shields flared into place. Bright blue walls swallowing the enemy's fury. The aliens gasped. Their own fleets had never built such defenses. The human ships held steady, unharmed, then came the reply. It was not loud. It was not rushed. It was exact. Rows of human warships shifted into formation. Cannons glowed with white-blue fire. Missiles unfolded like wings, and without a single word, the Armada answered. The void erupted. Beams of light cut across the darkness, brighter and sharper than anything the aliens had ever seen. Entire lines of enemy ships were torn apart in seconds, ripped open like paper under fire. Human missiles streaked forward, splitting into swarms, each finding its target with unerring precision. The enemy's endless black tide suddenly broke into pieces. The aliens on the surface cried out in shock. Never had they seen the machines falter. Never had they seen them pushed back. Yet here it was, humanity burning the swarm apart with silent fury. Still, the battle was far from over. The machines adapted quickly, as they always did. New waves came, faster and stronger. They split into smaller groups, surrounding the human fleet from every angle. Their numbers were overwhelming. Even with human power, the swarm threatened to crush them. But humanity was ready. From the heart of the Armada, commands spread unseen. Entire wings of ships spun as one, cutting off the enemy's flanking routes. Smaller human craft darted through the swarm like hunters, striking and vanishing before the machines could react. Every movement was perfect, every strike calculated. It was like watching a living storm move across the stars. The alien commander on the ground whispered, "They fight as if one mind guides them all." Still, the enemy pressed harder. Giant machine dreadnoughts appeared, larger than cities, their weapons burning brighter than suns. They opened fire with blasts that shook space itself. Entire human squadrons vanished in the explosions. For the first time, humanity's silence broke. Short, clipped voices echoed over alien channels, orders, warnings, sacrifice. Wing 7, hold them. Block the dreadnought. Protect the line. Human ships threw themselves into the fire. They took hits that shattered their hulls, but even as they broke apart, they bought seconds. And in those seconds, other ships struck back. Coordinated barrages ripped through the giant machine dreadnoughts, cracking their armor, turning their dark hulks into flaming wreckage. The aliens wept as they watched. The humans were saving them, but they were bleeding for it. Whole vessels burned. Their crews lost to the black, yet not a single human ship retreated. Not one broke formation. For hours the battle raged. Explosions lit the night sky above the planet, so bright that even the children hiding in shelters could see them. The world shook with each blast, but no one looked away. They were watching history. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the swarm began to falter. The endless black tide was no longer endless. Wreckage floated in every direction, machine husks burning as they drifted into the void. The great dreadnoughts were gone, their twisted remains scattering across the stars. The machines still fought, but their attacks were weaker, scattered. The human armada did not stop. They pressed forward with relentless strength, driving the enemy back, ship by ship, line by line. Every time a human vessel fell, 10 more struck in vengeance. Every loss only sharpened their fury. And then the moment came. The machine command ship, a massive black fortress at the heart of the swarm, revealed itself. Its weapons lit like suns, desperate to turn the tide. But humanity had been waiting for this. Dozens of ships broke formation, charging head-on. Their engines roared, their weapons burned at full power. The alien council on the ground cried out, "They will be destroyed." But the humans did not hesitate. They unleashed every missile, every cannon, every weapon they had. The command ship fired back, tearing through half the attackers, but the rest struck home. The void shook with a blast brighter than dawn. When the light cleared, the machine command ship was gone. Only fire and wreckage remained. The swarm froze. Without their command, the machines faltered, their movements breaking apart into chaos. Some continued to fight blindly, others drifted without purpose. Humanity wasted no time. The Armada swept across the battlefield, finishing the broken pieces, hunting down the stragglers. Silence returned to space. On the surface, the aliens stood in stunned disbelief. The machines, the unstoppable enemy that had destroyed countless worlds, were defeated. Their sky was not black anymore. It was filled with burning debris, and beyond that, the glowing trails of humanity's ships. They had not been saved by chance. They had been saved by an entire armada that had come for them, fought for them, bled for them. The alien leader whispered, voice trembling, "They did not just fight for survival. They fought for us." And in that moment, the aliens realized something deeper. Humanity was not just powerful. Humanity was terrifyingly willing to sacrifice everything, not only for their own kind but for strangers who had cried out in desperation. The battle was over, but the galaxy would never be the same. The battlefield was silent at last. The stars that had burned with fire and fury now glowed dim behind drifting wreckage. Broken machine husks floated like dark monuments, their twisted remains scattering across the void. The human armada, though scarred and wounded, still stood. From the ruined surface of the alien world, survivors looked upward. For the first time in months, their sky was not filled with enemy fire. Instead, they saw human ships gliding slowly across the heavens, their engines glowing faint blue, their formations still tight and disciplined, even after such a brutal war. The alien people wept openly. They had expected death. They had expected silence. Yet humanity had come. Humanity had fought. Humanity had won. But victory had a price. Above the planet, many human ships no longer moved. Their hulls were cracked, their lights gone. Dozens had fallen in flames during the battle, and countless human lives had been lost. Even as the survivors cheered, the void carried the ghosts of those who had sacrificed themselves so strangers might live. In the command tower, the alien council sat in silence. None of them knew what to say. Gratitude burned in their hearts, but so did shame. They had begged for help, and humanity had answered. Not with a few ships, not with small aid, but with an entire armada that had risked everything. Why? The beacon flickered once more, and a human voice filled the chamber. Calm, firm, worn with battle. Your world is safe, for now. The machines will not return quickly. But remember, they are not gone. They will rise again. You must rebuild. You must be ready. The alien leader stepped forward, voice shaking. Why? Why did you come with so many? Why fight for us when you owed us nothing? The reply was simple, almost gentle. Because you asked. And because one day we may ask too. The words struck like thunder in their hearts. Humanity had not come for conquest, not for payment. They had come because they understood. Today the aliens had cried for help. Tomorrow it could be humanity. The alien survivors bowed their heads. They realized that humanity's true power was not only in weapons or ships. It was in unity, in loyalty, in the terrifying will to fight for life, not just their own, but for anyone who needed them. On the ground, children whispered stories of the Armada. They spoke of ships that blazed brighter than stars, of warriors who never broke, of strangers who became saviors. To them, humanity was no longer just a name from distant star charts. Humanity was a legend written in fire, but not all felt only relief. In the council chamber, one elder spoke quietly, his face pale. If they do this for strangers, what will they do for themselves? If they bring such force to protect others, what power do they hold when defending their own kind? The thought sent a shiver through the room. For in saving the aliens, humanity had also revealed itself to the galaxy. An entire armada moved as one, without fear, without hesitation. If such a force was ever turned in anger, nothing could stand against it. The galaxy would remember this day. Some would see humanity as saviors. Others would see them as a new danger. But none would forget. Above the scarred planet, the human ships began to withdraw. Slowly, one by one, they turned back toward the stars, engines glowing like fading lanterns in the night. They left no banners, no demands, no trophies. Only silence. Only the memory of their power. As the last ship vanished into the void, the alien people stood together under the open sky. They had been saved, but they understood now that salvation was not free. It had been bought with blood, human blood. The alien leader raised her hands to the heavens and whispered, "We asked for help," and an entire species answered. Her words spread through the people, carried on voices, echoed in streets, burned into memory. It was not only a statement. It was a vow. For as long as their race survived, they would remember the day humanity rose like a tide and turned despair into hope. In the silence that followed, the galaxy itself seemed to pause. Somewhere hidden across the stars, other races listened. Some trembled with fear, others with awe. Humanity had shown its hand, and the message was clear. If you cry for help, they will come. But if you stand against them, beware. Because when humanity moves, it does not move alone. It moves as an armada, and nothing in the galaxy will ever forget.